Geekazine is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network found at www.techpodcast.com. If it's tech, then it's here. The white iPhone might be thicker than, I don't know. Cisco's got a CDC. We've got the playbook information. Is blogger copyright dead? All this and a whole lot more. We got it all encompassed in the Geekazine Weekly Podcast, and we're giving it to you in a nice quiche this week, because I'm thinking quiche would be a really nice thing to have right now. Very tasty and very cold Madison, Wisconsin. Once again, I use that usual scrubby to find all the cool stuff on the interweb. So let's get started, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the three-ring circus we call Geekazine and the weekly podcast that I call Geekazine Weekly Podcast. How you doing? It's a beautiful May 3rd here in beautiful, cold Madison, Wisconsin. Yes, we had another cold snap. It seems that the cold snaps happen during podcast days, which is really weird. But, you know, hey, it is what it is, and it was what it was, and it will be what it shall be every day since it was what it was. And if you can understand exactly what I'm saying, then you know that you're on the Geekazine Weekly Podcast, and you know you're ready to hear some tech news and some cool stuff all around the world for you to consume, like burger, because it's National Burger Month. Imagine me with a burger in my hands, and I'm eating a burger. Nice, tasty, juicy. Now, if you're a vegetarian, I apologize for that. Here's a nice Boca burger for you. Here we go. So I am now eating a burger. How you doing? Jeffrey Powers here. Welcome to the Geekazine Weekly Podcast. If this is the first time that you've come, you've got a burger. We're not going to give any. Well, no, we'll give you some fries too. Here's some fries with the burger and the fries. Anyway. Welcome to the Geekazine Weekly Podcast. It's a celebratory Geekazine Weekly Podcast, as some of you say OBL, some of you say UBL. It's really how you spell Osama. It's the day, and ladies and gentlemen, I am really happy about that. Of course, 10 years ago we had the horrific events of 9/11, and now we have the relief that Osama bin Laden has passed on into this world. Yes, he is dead, ladies and gentlemen. He'd been killed on Monday, if you haven't heard, or Sunday, if you haven't heard. But a lot of people are sitting there going, I don't know. Is he really dead? Is it? Hold on a second. I had to knock that down just a skosh here. But anyways, somebody said, is he really dead? And I'm going to tell you something, and hopefully we'll move this rumors. We knew that there was different Osama bin Ladens. That's been documented. You have the fake ones, you have the real ones. Just like Saddam Hussein had his mock-ups. You've seen the movies like Dave, like the movie with Richard Dreyfuss that was in it, where he had his other person that came out and you thought that was the president or whatever. So yeah, they had their mock people. So the bottom line is this. Either one of three things happened. I don't think it's going to be the third one. The first one, he got killed on Sunday. The second one, he was actually dead for a while now. And the United States just said, today we've got to do it. We've got to take care of it. Or they took out one of the clones and they said, that's it. That's him. We're gonna leave it at that. We know he's dead. So all you conspiracy theorists, and I've seen a lot of you out there, that is what I believe. I don't believe the third one. Because if it was the third one, then the next day he would have come out with a tape saying, "Ha, United States, I'm still alive." Just think about that. So either he died before this attack or he died in the attack. Either way, I have no doubt in my mind that he is out there and he's dead. He's gone. That's it. Now, this isn't anything political or anything like that. It's just something that even 10 minutes ago I saw. And all the conspiracy theorists are going to come out. You remember the 9/11 conspiracy theorists out there. They sat there and they figured out different things. They put numbers together and they talked about numbers and blah, 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 blah. But the reality is it's done. It's done. Let's move on. All right. With that said, I hope you're having a great week. And I hope you're coming to the show and you can skip through that part. Well, of course, if you listened through that part and heard me say you can skip through that part, then you don't need to skip through that part because you've already gone through that part. Let's move on from here. Of course, this is Geekazine Weekly Podcast. Comes out every single week on Wednesday. We record it on Tuesday live, so you can go up on your Ustream. A lot of people have been asking me, why are you still up on Ustream? There's a lot of bad stuff with Ustream. Why don't you switch over to Justin.tv? Why don't you go over to something else like BitGravity or something like that? Well, the reality is this: we've never really seen high numbers on the stream, and I'm at this point where it's like I'd rather put out the regular show, give you the opportunity to watch the stream, but it was never going to consume it because I've always had problem after problem after problem with the live stream, and so it's just there. You can watch it as it goes, but then when it's all done, we'll move from there. Now, eventually, I'm going to have to move to a 24/7 streaming option. That's usually how you get more people interested in your shows. I do have a lot of shows, a lot of what's called evergreen content that could be moved over into these shows. So you could watch unboxings, you could watch reviews, you could watch what we do, social media stuff, stuff like that. So there's a lot of option out there. But right now, what I'm doing is I'm sticking on Ustream because it's one of the most notable. If Google was to call me tomorrow and say, hey, you got a Google Stream, I'm over there in a heartbeat. I'm just going to tell you that. Ustream, you're dropping the ball. It's time to pick up the ball. It's time to talk to somebody like myself and say, hey, what are we really doing wrong? Now, it's not about the ads. It's not about anything like that. It's because we all have to make money. That's how we survive. That's how I survive. That's how you survive. That's how Ustream survives. But they need to figure out how they're doing people wrong, such as my show, because there's absolutely no tech area in Ustream to go to. So neither here nor there. Let's move on from there because then we're running 7 minutes already. Just wanted to let you know, hey, if you have been to Dorkazine.com, you've seen the problems here. Last week, on the 23rd of April, somebody hacked into Dorkazine, deleted the database completely. Now, the thing about Dorkazine is it was on an old server that I kept on there because it was low bandwidth, and I wasn't ready to move it over to the main servers just yet because we were still having problems with GoDaddy, which, if you've read the notice, I've now switched over to the 4GH server for GoDaddy. So hopefully all my problems, all my 500 errors will be resolved. We'll see what happens. If you see any problems, let me know over at geekazine@gmail.com. Anyway, so Dorkazine, apparently somebody got in, and I think I know how. It was a plugin, and I've since deleted the plugin. And they got into the database, and they wiped it clean. Now, for most people, it's like, oh my goodness, it wiped clean. I can't believe it. However, this Dorkazine wasn't, I didn't have too many posts in there. I had about probably in the last year, about 25 posts. I had a backup from January of 2010. So that would have meant I lost about 14 months worth of data, which, like I said, about 25 posts. If it wasn't for Google Chrome, those posts would be gone. But I went into Google Chrome, and I did some simple searches. All I have to do, I'm sorry, not Google Chrome, Google Search. I'm saying Google Chrome, but yeah, I'm using Google Chrome. Went into Google Search, and I did a search for archive dates. So I did Dorkazine space 2010/02 to mark February 2nd of 2010. And then it brought up a link where it said, underneath the link, it said cached. And I hit the cache button, and all of a sudden I saw all my Dorkazine posts from February of 2010. I then went into Dorkazine, and I copied and pasted. That was basically it. I recreated those posts. So 95% of Dorkazine is back up and running. And yes, I did back up the database. So if somebody tries to get into the database and wipe it clean again, I've got a more recent updated copy. So So thank you very much, Google, and your cache system, because it saved me. It really did. All right, next week I'm heading out to Vegas in Interop. Interop is a conference on virtualization and the cloud. If you are a podcaster, if you're a videocaster and you want to get some video from me, please send me an email at geekazine@gmail.com. That's down here, geekazine@gmail.com, and say, hey, can you set up a certain time and just kind of send over a video and stuff like that? I'm going to be doing lots of bumpers for lots of people, so send me your stuff if you want. We can try and do a live Skype from Interop if you want to. Drop me a line from there. What else do we got here? Oh, I am getting some new toys. As you saw, I got this new toy right here. This is the Canon Vixia HD camera. This is what I'm going to be using for the for my interviews. I'm still going to use the Kodak PlayTouch. It's just the difference between the PlayTouch and this one is it's got a 20x optical zoom, and the Kodak, until Kodak has an optical zoom, I need to have something a little bit more useful in here. It's not a DV camera, so I won't be able to use it for FireWire, but I got a solution on that too. I can't wait till we come out with a card that actually reads the HDMI, because that's eventually going to happen. It's just that nobody's developed it yet or come out with it yet. There's a couple different third-party solutions, names that I've never heard of. I might try, but we'll see what happens here. As you know, the Lenovo M90Z, but if you're listening to it on Wednesday, chances are you couldn't enter in the contest. The contest would be over. But if you're watching live stream, and I'm not monitoring the chat, so I don't know if anybody's watching live stream. Excuse me. However, nonetheless, if you're watching live stream, go over to Geekazine, figure out how to do it. Basically, what you're doing is you're recording a 5-second bumper. You're saying, "Hi, I'm so and so, and you're watching Geekazine." You can do that even after the contest, but bumper and then a Twitter that basically said, "I just sent a bumper to Geekazine," and you email the 5-second video, which is pretty much less than 5 meg for a 5-second video. You do it on your iPhone, you do it on a webcam, you do it on a regular camera like the Canon right here, and send it to me, geekazine@gmail.com. And of course, we'll be drawing a winner tomorrow. So, anyway, good luck to everybody. That we do have some entries, so good luck on that. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, yes, I am going to Blog World. I'm still looking for sponsors. If you know of anybody that would like to sponsor my trip to Blog World, we got some great stuff for sponsorship. So go over to geekazine.com, email me, give me a call at 608-205-4378 or geekazine@gmail.com. All right, one more thing about Bin Laden, and we'll talk about something in the show notes here. But my favorite Bin Laden tweet is a Linux, or I'm sorry, it's a code. Yeah, it's a Linux code. And it goes something like this: minus sudo space rm space minus rf space /bin/Laden. So basically, it means administrative purposes, remove Bin Laden. Pretty cool stuff. You can check that in the show notes. Show notes is your resource to all the show links. Go over to Geekazine, get to the show notes, and get it like a big burger, and then just consume it. And of course, we have all the RSS feeds. You can get. We'll have FeedBurner up there. We'll have all the other ways to get your RSS feed, so you can get the show. You can also get us on iTunes. You can get us on Tech Podcast Network. You can get us on Blueberry. You can get us on Zune. You can get us on the Roku. You can get. We got so many places you can get this show. It's unbelievable. Anyway, that's it. Let's get into some sponsors. Let's get into some show notes and go from there. Of course, like I said, you can go over to geekazine.com, and you're going to have to forgive me because the third laptop is actually being used somewhere else. So I'm back to my two system here. Here we go, geekazine.com. You can go here and check out everything. If you look on the right side, you see all the sponsors, including one of them, that's GoToMeeting. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I was asked a couple days ago that if you go to GoToMeeting.com, you get this page right here. However, if you go to the link through Geekazine, you get a completely different page. Now, what we're telling people is to go to Try It Free, hit the Try It Free Now button, and enter in that code PODCAST, PODCAST, podcast. and they're finding that if they go to the other link, they don't get that code. Well, it still works there. It still works there, and you can still get that 30-day free trial of GoToMeeting. It works for a PC, works for a Mac, works for an iPad, and coming soon, they're seeing right here HD Faces, so you can actually do some web chatting over your GoToMeeting session. I'm going to tell you something. We've used it over the Tech Podcast Network for a few years now, and every GoToMeeting session that we've ever had, we have never had a problem on it. I mean, we've had some internet issues, but that's internet issues, and it's not GoToMeeting issues. I can tell you that every time that I've used GoToMeeting, I have never had GoToMeeting cause a problem. Never. And that's years of using it now. Try it out and tell me what you think. If you think that's true or not, because I know it's true, and I love GoToMeeting. But try it free. Go to GoToMeeting.com. Go to the Try It Free Now button, enter in that code podcast, and you'll get a 30-day free trial, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Let me know what you think. Email me over at geekazine@gmail.com, and tell me what you think about it. So, anyway, another sponsor is Mozy.com. Backup now, backup often, backup off-site. 15% off if you use that code GEEK to back up. Everything starts $5.99 per computer per month. And, of course, 15% off if you use the code GEEK and you're saving yourself. It's like $5.49. No credit card, no commitment. You can test drive with 2 gigabytes for free. Back up your pictures, back up your documents, save yourself from fire, theft, and everything. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to do my major backups before I head out to Vegas because you never know what happens, especially theft, because then you never get your files back. Well, if you're lucky, you might. But anyway, go over to Mozy.com. Remember the code GEEK at checkout, 15% off to back up now, back up often, back up offsite with Mozy.com. Going to Blog World? Hey, go over to Geekazine.com/Blog World. Geekazine.com/Blog World. And, of course, that'll help Geekazine when you purchase your ticket. It gives me credit so I can get all these podcasts to you. Geekazine.com/Blog World. And, of course, they've got a great conference schedule. Met Gary Vaynerchuk, of course, last week, which is why I didn't have the podcast last week. I've met Chris Brogan. Let's see, who else have I met? Tom Webster, pretty good. C.C. Chapman, just met him at CES. We have a whole list of people here that are going to New York. And I'm going to tell you something. If you're a media person, if you do what I do, video, audio, everything, you need to go to Blog World, New York, because that is the media capital of the world. The media capital of the world, and you need to be there. I'm going there by hook or by crook. I'm going to be there. Hopefully not by crook. I'll figure it out. But anyway, you should go. And, of course, if you go over to geekazine.com/Blog World, you will get to that page. You can register. Use BWSave20 for 20% off. BWSave20 for 20% off. If you're in media, you need to be at Blog World, New Media Expo, New York. Finally, this cool program, this is how I do all these little switches, all these changes, everything like this and this. I'm using a webcam. I'm using a DV Firewire camera, and that's all through Wirecast. That's over at Telestream. You can go over there. Of course, doesn't show you anything. But anyway, Wirecast is a great program. That's that intro that you see at the beginning. I can switch between cameras. I can switch between computers. I have the laptop running. I have the desktop running, and you can do it too. $449, but ladies and gentlemen, it's well worth it if you're trying to run a show and you need to have something to just control it all, so it looks a little bit different, looks a little bit cooler, and like I say, you can switch between frames just as easily as clicking a mouse button. It's over at telestream.com. And with that, let's get into your show. I think I'm going to use this one. We'll find out. Hold on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the first part there, and that kind of faded out too fast. Okay, let's get into the show notes here. Hopefully you like the video, the music behind it. And of course, it'll fade out in a second. Anyway, let's go over to. We're starting over at TG Daily. There we go. We're starting over at TDG Daily. I'm going to have to fix that a little bit there. That was I didn't have much time to get that done. It's the white iPhone. We're going to start over here. Of course, everybody's going, oh my God, the white iPhone, it's a little bit thicker than the black iPhone. And Engadget talked about it, and they said, hey, you know, it's like 0.37 millimeters thicker. But then Consumer Reports came out and said, whoa, wait a minute. No, it's not. It's this exact same size. So which is it? It's not like Engadget's trying to cause a media controversy here or anything like that. All they want to do is tell people, hey, white iPhone's a little bit thicker than the black iPhone. The 3GS is thinner than the black iPhone, or the white iPhone for that matter, I believe. At some points it is. It's thinner. But anyway. And a lot of controversy on it. I do have a friend that has a white iPhone. I do have a friend that has a black iPhone 4. And we'll put them together and we'll do the comparison ourselves. Some people are saying, well, you know, it might be just some tricks or something like that, how you set it up, how you set down the iPhone, whatever. Some people say that the white iPhone bulged a little bit. There was reports saying that the white iPhone had to be a little bit larger because of the fact that it had to reflect the ultraviolet rays. And there might be two white iPhone 4 versions out there. One that's a little bit thicker than the other. The earlier ones... and then they found out, hey, we could actually do this and make it thinner. So there's a possibility right there. What's your conspiracy theory on the white iPhone? Let me know. Geekazine@gmail.com or 608-205-4378. tgdaily.com if you want to check that out. Of course, go to the show notes and we'll get you there. Of course, the biggest news of the week, Sony, well, besides Osama bin Laden, Sony had this humongous security hold. Everybody that was on the PlayStation Network, everybody that gave crowd credit cards you want to go and you get new credit cards. Change everything out. Get your security fixed. If you have passwords on the Sony Network that you use on other sites, go change your passwords. Time to change your passwords once again. So that's the big thing. And, of course, Sony said, okay, we messed up. Here's a 30-day free trial of Sony. But then another part of Sony Network went down for hackers. Another 24.6 million accounts went down. So it's not looking good for Sony. And they need to seriously do something and fix that. Toot sweet. So... we'll see what happens there. It's still going on right now. Sony might come out with another 30-day free trial. They might just kind of, hey, you know, here's a free PlayStation. We messed up big time. So, of course, they'll get it fixed. Sony, for all the bad that, you know, proprietary badness that Sony has, there's a lot of good on Sony. And the one thing that they do is they make sure that they fix their problems. And I think they'll fix it, and they'll come out with some cool stuff, and we'll be all back on Sony. But we'll see what happens. In the meantime, you can read this all at zdnet.com. Have you've probably read about this, but well, actually, no, you haven't read about this because it's brand new news. I don't know if if you're up on the web, you've read about it already. Microsoft and RIM are now partners in search. Bing will bring its search maps to BlackBerry mobile devices by fall. Research and Motion and Microsoft made the announcement on Tuesday, saying that they're going to invest uniquely in BlackBerry platform. That came from Steve Ballmer, and in Florida at the BlackBerry World. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Of course, BlackBerry, we're going to be talking about that in a few seconds, about how how many BlackBerries have been sold in the last 12 years. 150 million, that is. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But the bottom line is that this is interesting to see how Microsoft is expanding the Bing search. Because, of course, it's all over Yahoo. And now we're going to get it on mobile devices through BlackBerry. Of course, you can always switch your BlackBerry from Bing to Google if you want to, or another search engine if you want to. You're going to have options. So pretty interesting. We're going to see what happens there. RIM, and of course, I'm assuming this is also going to take for things like the playbook and stuff like that. You'll be able to do updates and go from there. So pretty cool stuff. We'll keep you abreast on the whole situation when it happens, but it won't happen until the fall technically. If you want to switch over your search over to Bing, you can do so on your BlackBerry phone. I'm not sure. I don't have a BlackBerry, so I don't know the settings that you can do, but I know you can do it. So, all right, let's move over to Mashable.com because they're talking about AT&T launching a Groupon competitor. Some believe it to be called Yellow Pages. So it'll be pretty interesting to see what happens there. But anyway, Dawn Benton, who's the spokeswoman for AT&T, says that over time they will broadcast to mobile phones as well. A natural evolution for AT&T. The Yellow Pages is a trusted brand that millions already turn to. I'm going to tell you something, Dawn. I have 2 Yellow Page books sitting on my front stoop I haven't touched, and when I think about it, they're going into the trash can because I haven't used Yellow Pages. And the Yellow Pages that have been on the web have been really seedy at times. So hopefully you've cleaned up the word Yellow Pages. Hopefully you have the word Yellow Pages, and then all these other sites that say they're Yellow Pages, they can't use them. And that's the best way to clean it up. But anyway, it's going to be some sort of deal system, kind of like Groupon, without being Groupon, because that's copyright infringement right there. And we'll see what happens there. So the real question is this, and this is with Groupon. If you don't know Groupon, when you sign up with Groupon, you can't get onto any of these other sites to do the same deals. So I'm assuming with AT&T, you're going to have to sign some sort of an exclusivity contract that says that you can't use Groupon at the same time. And I bet you Groupon will have the vice versa. Maybe AT&T will keep it a little bit more open. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think would you switch to AT&T's Yellow Pages? Do you like Groupon? Is that the best thing in the world? Let me know. Geekazine@gmail.com or 608-205-4378. Acronis has released a combined backup and disaster recovery software. If you've never heard of Acronis or Acronis or whatever you want to call it, Acronis is what I call it. And basically what it is, it's an imaging software. So basically when I load up a computer, I will go into Acronis and I will image it. I'll put an image on it. So if the computer crashes, like if my laptop was to crash tomorrow, I put in the image and I can back up from that copy. And it's a very useful piece of software. I love it. I love it. I love it. Now they've got backup and recovery software. And the best part about it, it's kind of like what Mozy does, except it's a whole package. So you can actually upload it or put it onto a disk or something like that, a drive that you have somewhere in your house, USB drive, whatever. But that way you don't have to back up the whole thing. You can do incremental backups and everything like that. So this new software, it's called Acronis Backup and Recovery 11. It handles machine images, physical and virtual machine data protection, and will restore an entire system right down to the OS. So it's pretty cool right there. If you've never checked out imaging software, such as Acronis or Ghost, which is Symantec's version, you might want to check this out and see how you can back up your computer in multiple ways. We talk about Mozy a lot, but backing up your computer in any way, shape, and form is key. Because not only do I back up via Mozy, but I also back up to my home server. And I have several backups of all my computers. And backing up is the most important thing, period. So anyway, if you want to check that out, go over to computerworld.com. Ars Technica is announced that, and of course other websites, that the new iMacs have come out with the Thunderbolt Lightning Thunderbolt port. So the updated iMacs on Tuesday morning with the Thunderbolt compatibility, FaceTime HD. They come in 21.5-inch and 27-inch models. They run i5s and i7 processors with AMD Radeon HD graphics. The base model is 21.5 inches. And prices start at $1,199. Not cheap, But if you want your Mac, you go for it. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I'm getting a Mac. That's what's going to happen at Interop. I'm going to actually be doing all the video from there. So it's supposed to be arriving in the next couple days. And I'll be able to load it up. And yes, I'll have the Thunderbolt port. We got the i5 machine. And it's a 15-inch i5. Save on some sort of cash. Anyway, Ars Technica for that. And yeah, I'm not switching over. I'm still going to be in all three worlds. In fact, I just updated my Ubuntu computer to 11.04. So, ladies and gentlemen, I live in all three worlds. All three. It's a tough transition, but it's still a transition. And my G4, I do have an Apple. I have an Apple G4 over here. It'll probably sit on the shelf a little bit more. So, anyway, let's move on from there. We'll go over to TechCrunch. As I was talking about before, RIM has sold 100. They said they sold 150 million phones in the last 12 years, 15 million in the last quarter. So they did 10% of 10% of the whole percentage of sales in the last quarter, last 3 to 4 months. So your BlackBerry sales have been up and it's really nice. Mike Lazardius reported BlackBerry sold 150 million phones in 12 years. And they to put it in perspective, Nokia shipped 108.5 million mobile devices in quarter one. So they're not really up to what Nokia does. Apple, I don't know where Apple is. AT&T alone sold 3.6 million iPhones last quarter. So Nokia is, of course, number one. That could easily change in the next year or two, because we're getting smartphones, and Nokia still is behind on the smartphone market. But we'll see what happens here. And it's really all about creating multiple versions of the same device. Because you have the $50 phone, you have the $100 phone, you have the $200 phone, you have the $500 phone, and you have the $3 million phone that has the encrusted jewels in it, and then the penny phone that you get for free. And you can say all those are BlackBerries. And then you can say 15 million. All those are Nokias. And you have 108.5 million. That's how that works. So even though they're saying that those are the numbers, you got to think, what does that set of numbers include? Does that include some little rinky-dink phone, like a jitterbug phone? Maybe, because the jitterbug phone needs to be made by somebody. Maybe those were made by Nokia. I don't know. Maybe they were made by BlackBerry. I don't know. I haven't really checked into that. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if these numbers get skewed or anything like that. But if you want to read more, go over to TechCrunch.com. On Osama bin Laden's death, one more thing here. I believe this is the last time we're going to talk about it today, and we'll move on from there. There was a tweet that has gone viral. It was a quote by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and they basically changed it, and here's how it goes right now. I mourn the loss of thousands of precious lives, but I will not rejoice in the death of one, not even an enemy. Returning hate or hate multiplies hate, adding deeper darkness to a night already devoid of stars. Darkness cannot drive out the darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And of course, they returned hate for hate. So the quote, basically, there's a lot of people that are jilted. And rightfully so. When you have the World Trade Towers, we lost, 2,600 people, something like that? And we felt exposed as the United States, as a nation. So the death of one person, there's a lot of people that are saying, yeah, of course I bleeped out that other word, but that word starts with an F. Heck yeah. In fact, I did tweet that. I said it would be perfect if Obama just turned around after he got done talking about it and just said, yeah. And of course, yeah, we should never praise somebody's death, but it's tough. We're human. And there's a point where it's like, I'm glad it's done, to a point. So anyway, good or bad, whatever you think, let me know. Geekazine@gmail.com or 608-205-4378. Go over to Mashable.com for that information. Hey, check out this backpack. It's pretty cool. If you've got some reason to look through a wall, here you go. This is over on device.com. It's got a portable radar system in it, and we'll send a live 3D map of the next room and everything in there. Now, it's not going to be cheap, and I'm trying to remember the price on that. Let me scroll through this really quick. The price on that is, I don't have it on here, but there is a price. It's pretty expensive. So don't, or is it still in development? Anyway, you can check that out. Go over to device.com. Running, we're doing a lot of stuff here, so let's continue on here. We're going over to Information Week. If you haven't heard, Cisco has decided to go the same way as HP and IBM and Microsoft. They're creating what are called it's basically those pods where you store all your junk into, except now they're putting server rooms into it. And of course, Cisco's calling it the Containerized Data Center, or CDC, which I don't know if that's a good idea because that's also the Center for Disease Control. So Cisco's coming out with a Center for Disease Control. Whoever thought of that, not thinking. But anyway, they're 20 to 40 foot containers. They're put down during emergency situations or when you need more servers to do something. Like, for instance, if we were to ever come up with a voting system that we would use over the internet, one of these portable data centers would probably be used. Multiple would be used for redundancy, for everything, for protection, blah, 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 blah. So Cisco's getting in that game. Apparently there's big need for it. Alabama, perfect example. We had the tornadoes in Alabama. And what they do is they put down these mobile data centers so they can continue to work, so they can build and rebuild. So informationweek.com if you want to check that out. Canada has been noted as the biggest copyright hall of shame. This is over on Ars Technica. They're saying that the Anti-Counterfeiting Trade Agreement Act has seen that Canada is the biggest in copyright infringement. It's a U.S. Trade Representative released the annual Special 301 report. It names countries with IP policies that the U.S. doesn't like. They call it a watch list, and Canada is once again on the watch list, along with China, Russia and India, and some other ones. Canada is worst of them all because they haven't passed major copyright overhaul acts yet. In fact, they have a full thing about this. You can check this out. Go over to artstechnica.com for that information. Heading over to Mashable.com, you can find out how you can get more from your iTunes playlist if you really want to work on your iTunes a little bit more. They just updated the iTunes, and it looks pretty good. You can create different types of playlists. I know I have a friend who's a DJ, and he goes, I hate it when I go in and I talk to other DJs, and I go, oh, so what software do you use? And they go, oh, I use iTunes. I kind of cringe on that too myself, but they show you how to create different types of lists, how to create, how to play around with the sound for certain lists and stuff like that. So check that out. It's over on Mashable.com. Here's a really cool map. You might think that we're going into some sort of acid trip or something like that. Let's go over to this one here. There you go. Ooh. Anyway, this apparently is a detailed 3D map of the universe. The brightest objects in the sky come up with the most complex images that the cosmos has ever made. The red indicates areas where more gas has been through. Blue areas not have enough gas in there. So that's the 3D map. That's over on dailymail.co.uk. So you can check that out over there. Gear Live is talking about huge Mac discounts from Best Buy. If you're going to buy yourself a Mac, you might want to check out their prices over there. So go over to gearlive.com to check that out. Over on Gearlog, they're talking about bike handles that you can use. They turn into locks. Is that the right screen? Oh, frozen. There we go. Bike handles that transform into locks. You can you try. Apparently, you turn them around and you lock them together. It's a pretty cool. It's a concept right now, so it's not for sale. But you might check this out over on Gearlog if you are a bike enthusiast, and you might be actually locking up your bikes through your handlebars. That's pretty cool. I I'm a big fan of MythBusters. So when MythBusters, I found out that they won the Webby Award, I was really happy about that. So congratulations. If you want to read more about that, go over to cultofmac.com. And then back over to device for this last one. This is actually very interesting. They're working on new devices, new ways to get laptops out there. Because, of course, laptops are still viable computers. Here's one that it's a concept one. And I'll show you what it folds. There we go. It folds in portfolio style. So you can use it. You get more screen. You get less laptop. You get smaller, so you can actually fit it into a side pocket rather than a big bag or something like that. So there are a lot of concepts coming out that that a lot of people are checking into. Of course, as we get better in the computing, we have less ports, less boards to worry about. MacBook Air. If you've ever seen a MacBook Air laptop on the insides, the motherboard is just wafer thin. So, pretty cool stuff. You check that out over at device.com. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, that does bring us to the end of part one. We've got a jam-packed part two. But before we do, I'm going to show you something. This is the unboxing of this camera right here, the Vixia HD camera. And that's in the halfway point. So that is it for part one. If you have any questions, geekazine@gmail.com or 608-205-4378 is the phone number. Feel free to call me and comment, suggest anything you need to. We will be right back on the Geekazine Weekly Podcast. Three, two. Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers here, and we're on a Geekazine unboxing. We have a Vixia HFR20. I just got it from Best Buy today. I went over yesterday. I went looking for cameras. As you all know, I'm a big Kodak Play Touch camera kind of guy, but I needed something that had a little bit more oomph to it, especially with the zoom-ins. Because even though the Kodak is a great camera, when it comes to zooming in for a tighter, closer shot, it really can't flip the bill until an actual digital or optical zoom is put onto the camera. So I decided to get this camera for my trip to Vegas to Interop, and of course HP Discover and Blog World New York coming up in the next couple months. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this. This is the Vixia HFR20. Now there's an HFR20 and then there's an HFR, I believe, 41. The other one had, the big difference, $100 difference. The big $100 difference is this has 8 gigabytes worth of memory. That one has 32 gigabytes of memory. Now, of course, the HFR20 has a lot of great stuff. It does a full 1080p, 1920 by 1080 in recording. Has an HD CMOS, it runs HVC HD and takes SDXC cards. Now, which means class 4 cards are better. What I really liked about this was it could actually take 2 cards, and it also had a microphone in, so I can actually control the audio, just like with the Kodak, so I was really happy about that. It zooms into, I believe, was it 28x, and in an advanced zoom, and a 20 times zoom plus an 8 digital zoom, so it'll be great to get some closer shots that I need here. Lots of other great features, but right now we're just going to unbox it and show you everything here. So I'm going to set this down. I'm going to open it up. In here, the first thing we have is the warranty. Fill that out. We have a program called Transfer Utility from Pixela Corporation. Another one that's called Video Browser.
And then looks like the instruction manuals and anything, applications and stuff like that Vixia, that Canon has to offer. And then, of course, the nice little manual and nice cellophane packaging there. We open up the inside of the box, and that's where we see the camera and all the accessory that you might get with it. We'll start with the camera because I'm really excited. And there's bubble wrap, too. Bubble wrap. Bubble wrap. Ah, there we go. Woohoo! Anyway, so we pull out the camera. Let's take a look at the camera itself. It's got, like I said, it's got an HD CMOS. We'll just move this over here. We got the wide, the zoom in, zoom out. We've got the start and stop buttons. We got the power button over here. We open it up. We got a touch screen, is my understanding right here. We've got all the options. There's the microphone jack right there. We open this up, and there's where you put in the 2 SD cards. We got USB and HDMI out, auto web, video snap, play button, so on and so forth. So looks pretty straightforward for a camera. On the other side, we'll close this up. On the other side we have the DC in, the component out, and the AV out. Now the battery is down here. Let's just pop that open, and the battery will slide in right there. So we'll put that in. Of course, we got the screw hole so we can put it onto a tripod, and then of course the camera. So that's the camera right there. We'll put that right there. We also got some cables. Looks like a USB cable right here and a component cable. Here's the battery right here. Looks pretty small, so I'm wondering how much of a battery life we'll get on that. I know we can get more powerful batteries. We got the DC charger right here. Looks like something for a lanyard strap or a hook-on strap right there. And the HDMI mini cable right there. That's pretty much it. What we're going to do now, I guess, is we'll put it all together. We'll get this camera charged up, and we'll show you some video using the Canon Vixia. Let's put the software right there, and the manual right there. That's everything from the Vixia. We'll get some tests going. We'll see what we can come of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the show. Well, past the video point. Jeffrey Powers here. Welcome back. Of course, if you heard the audio version, you were listening to something else. But if you were watching the video version, you see the Vixia unboxing, the Vixia camera, which is the one I have right here. 608-205-4378 is the phone number. Geekazine@gmail.com is the email address. If you want to call, if you want to email, talk about this cool audio behind me. This is some of the audio that I'm getting now is actually royalty-free clips, audio you buy on Amazon.com, because now I have that Amazon cloud drive. I've been putting files on it, and of course, every time you put something that you bought from Amazon on the drive, it doesn't count towards that 5 or 20 gigabyte cap. So I've been buying royalty-free music to use on the show, which is pretty cool. And I've used a couple of them. If you saw the social media breakfast clips, you saw you heard some music from that same album. So, but pretty cool stuff. You can check that out over at Amazon.com. Just type in royalty-free podcast music, stuff like that, and you'll find a lot of stuff. Drum beats, bass lines, full songs that you can use for your shows. So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, let's get back into the show so we can get you on your way to a nice big burger and some fries. Remember, burger, fries? Anyway, we're going to start back over on Gear Log, and what we're going to show you is the BlackBerry Playbook. And of course, I think that was the question. No, that wasn't the question of the week. I was going to show you, actually, I was going to show you a different video, but I decided to do the unboxing here. But over on Gearlog, they're talking about video chat coming to the BlackBerry Playbook. If you have got your playbook, RIM has talked about how they are going to have it available, so you can of course chat back and forth with the FaceTime type situation. It's not called FaceTime because probably somebody has a copyright on it, but has a FaceTime like situation system to use the cameras. You can use, it'll have to be over Wi-Fi. You probably can't use it over a 3G system or whatever. Blah 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 blah. You know the deal. You know the deal. The deal is there, and the deal is exactly the same. So you can check that out over at gearlog.com. All right. We're going over to ProBlogger. If you're a blogger out there, if you've ever done a blog, then you know that that there's a lot of things that you could talk about. And with blogs, it seems that copyright is sometimes everything gets skewed because bloggers, some people don't know that you can't just take and plagiarize a full article and put it on your site. And a lot of people have been nabbed on that. Copyright protection is a big thing. And then, of course, there's acceptable use out there. So this is an actually very interesting article over on ProBlogger.net. And Georgina Laidlaw wrote this article to cover all the copyright issues. They're basically talking about how you scrape from one blog or one article to get your blog going. And of course I do that myself. You know, I wasn't there when the playbook was released. I was there for CES when a lot of stuff was released, which is great. But I wasn't there for a lot of different releases. When Steve Jobs talks for Apple, I don't get invited to those. I don't go to those. I'd love to. Steve Jobs, if you'd like to invite me, get me a plane ticket out there. I will go to any of your events. I'm just telling you. Anyway, so people have to rely on other people to get content through. Like, for instance, Geekazine Weekly Podcast. If it wasn't for all these great content producers, Ars Technica, Computer World, ProBlogger.net, PC Mag, PC World, so on and so forth, I couldn't create a show for you. So, anyway, so they have this whole thing about whether is copyright for blogger, is it actually something that is there? As a blogger, so if I write an article, for example, let's say I write an article on the new iPad, just came out, and I wrote an article on the new iPad. Another blogger takes parts of my blog and puts it on their blog. Another person takes parts of their blog and puts it on their blog, and so on and so forth. That's basically what it comes out to, is reproduction of your blog. And of course, and the funny thing is, at the beginning of this ProBlogger.net article, it says, if you're reading this blog post anywhere other than ProBlogger.com, you're reading an illegal rip of the original. I know that there's programs out there that can go up to a website, pull all the information off, and then just basically create a new post out of it. And it's not good. Yeah, I don't do that. Like I said, I go over to other websites to get information, get facts, so I can create my own posts and my own information. But some people do that, and so it's just really a question of where's the copyright in all this. So, interesting stuff. If you are a blogger, you might want to check this out. It's over at ProBlogger.net. Speaking of blogging and tweeting and Facebooking and so on and so forth, it was really interesting ruling over in Massachusetts. I am shocked that this happened. Let me tell you what it is. Massachusetts, Quincy District Court, located south of Boston, they had they're creating what's called Open Court. It's a pilot program that lets people tweet, it lets people use Facebook, and it lets people blog. And I believe there's also a live stream involved here. So if you decide that you want to blog about something that's not related to the case, you don't get like a community service or $100 fine or something like that. But there's a lot of questions about this, and my question is simply this. If you don't control the content inside the courtroom, how much misinformation will come out of it? And further, will that affect a case because of that misinformation? What if somebody tweets out the fact that the person said, I'm guilty, not, and they didn't hear the not part? I don't know. It just came at the top of my head. I know, not the best example. And then they didn't hear the not part, and they said, guilty. I tweeted it. Guilty. I'm the first to tweet it. Yay. Oh, wait. He didn't say guilty? Oops. Yeah. So I think there's a real long way to go. It's a $250,000 experiment. So we'll see what happens if Massachusetts actually becomes the lead on doing social media, social networking in the courtroom. But I still think that there's a point where you got to say no Twitter, no Facebook, especially pictures. Oh, wow. Can you imagine that there's a courtroom brawl and somebody's catching on their phone, they're doing this on the phone, and then all of a sudden it's up on Facebook and goes viral? I don't know. I don't see this as a viable solution. I think this is not a good idea, but that's me. And I can't wrap my head around a good reason to use this unless you have some court-appointed Facebook person or court-appointed Twitter person that knows good from bad and does it by the book. I don't know. Weigh in. What do you think? Do you think that you should be able to Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that, especially if you're on the jury? Wouldn't that be cool? You're on the jury, and you're sitting there going, da, 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 da. Oh, just got it. I'm sorry. What was that? The new viral video just came out. You didn't see that? You should check that out. And then the judge is going, oh, that's funny. That's great. Oh my goodness. Did he just? Oh wow. Just like on planes. Devices like that, Facebook, Twitter, not needed while you're up in the air. Turn it off. While driving, turn it off. While in court, turn it off. My opinion. Move on. Like I said, what do you think? Let me know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, last part of the show here, and we are going to miss Justine for this. Hopefully there's no advertising in here. And let's put on. She's going to do the dance. Let's find out. Hold on. She's doing a polka beat. Justine. All right. That's enough of that. Apparently, they're showing off different. I didn't really watch this whole thing. This is kind of funny. These other people are dancing. They're coming really viral. I think I'm going to do something in the iTunes store myself. I think I'm going to do something. I got an idea. But I'm not going to do it this way. But there's other people. You can go over here. It's over on cultomac.com. They got different dances that they can go. And the best part about this Canon, I could shoot using this Canon, and apparently there's a feature on here where I can have background music. I can actually put MP3s on here, and then as I'm recording, it does this because there's a full editing feature on this camera. Which another good thing for the Canon. But anyway, if you're going to do some dancing, if you're going to do some Apple Store dancing, please, please, please drop me that video over at geekazine@gmail.com. Of course, 608-205-4378. You can also go from there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I hope you enjoyed the show because now we are done this week. And of course, I had 2 weeks worth of catch up to do. We didn't do a show last week because of Gary Vaynerchuk. Thanks, Gary. Let me know what you think. Like I said, 608-205-4378 or geekazine@gmail.com. Next week, here's the deal. I'm going to be in Vegas. I'm supposed to be doing a podcast. They said, hey, do your regular podcasts. So we will be doing regular podcasts. If you are a content producer and you want to do a Skype from Vegas, I will do a Skype from Vegas. Just send me an email over at geekazine@gmail.com. That's it. That's the end of the show. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening. My name is Jeffrey Powers. You can get a hold of me of these two ways, down here on the bottom if you're watching the video. Of course, go over to geekazine.com and check out all the beauty. Excuse me, all the beauty from there. I'm choked up a little bit. It's over. I'm choked up. All right, that's it. I'm out of here. You guys have a safe week. We'll see you in Vegas next week and go from there. Take care.